5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go.
London, a city full of history, landmarks, wizards, Daleks, secret agents, consultant detectives, and brown bears from Peru. London is used in TV and film, so much so that by just walking down the street, you can remember that one car chase. So let's start looking at London on screen. The city of London is full of well-known historical landmarks and churches, but none are more iconic than St Paul's Cathedral. This famous member of the London skyline has been in numerous productions, but the interior of the famous church hasn't been used as much as the exterior. But in my opinion, I believe it has been used more creatively. While we rarely see it, it appears in the 2009 Sherlock Holmes film. The north side of the cathedral can be seen in the introduction of Sherlock Holmes, whilst the inside of the northwest staircase is where Sherlock uses his deductive skills to plan his next action. If you look carefully enough, you might recognise the cathedral's geometric staircase from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is the spiral staircase which leads to Professor Trelawney's divination room. However, this would not be the last time we see the cathedral in the Harry Potter films. In the film Half-Blood Prince, we see the side of St. Paul's during the introduction. The exterior of the building has been seen in a lot of different films and TV shows. Thor: The Dark World showed it briefly during the final acts, as well as in Doctor Who, where St. Paul's will be used twice. The first of these appearances was the invasion, where an army of Cybermen would rise from the sewers and march down in front of St. Paul's. This shot would later be homaged in the new series. The next stop on our tour is South Bank. The well-known area of London is home to the London Eye and the famous British Film Institute and skate park, and of course has been featured in many productions. So let's start with Mission Impossible, and more specifically Rogue Nation. The Mission Impossible films have used London in the past, but Rogue Nation has some good scenes there. The well-known romantic comedy Love Actually has used the area in a well-known scene. Harry Potter showed it in the Order of Phoenix, and it even is used in Doctor Who. In one episode of the modern series, the Doctor lands the TARDIS on the bank before driving away on a motorcycle. This is not the only time Doctor Who uses the South Bank. We also have the iconic moment from the Daleks' invasion of Earth, when the Daleks rise from the Thames. An alien ship also crashes there in Aliens of London. Our last film is Spectre. Not the only Bond film to feature an action sequence on the Thames, but it did use one for the climax of the final clash between Bond and Blofeld on Westminster Bridge. From bridges to museums, as we now go to Trafalgar Square, home of Nelson's Column and the National Gallery. Two landmarks here. Here, we have many things going on, from Rose and Mickey messing around and having lunch in Rose, to the girls in St. Trinian's preparing for the heist of a famous painting in St. Trinian's. But we also treated on a show on different philosophies, views, and a boat as we go inside for Skyfall, where Bond and the new Q meet for the first time. The area has also made appearances in both the US version of Sherlock Holmes Elementary and in Law and Order UK, but it's not just TV. Both blockbusters Captain America the First Avenger and Wonder Woman have used them for their respective end-of-war celebrations. Now we go back in time to the Coal Hill area, the location of a mighty battle between two different Dalek factions, who fight over the Hand of Omega. The actual site can be found by many Whovians in Watton Street near Waterloo Station. Also nearby is Thea Street, home to Black Doors and the location of the final confrontation between the Doctor and the renegade Supreme Dalek before he self-destructs, and victory is the Doctor's. Welcome to Baker Street, a place known for classic architecture, actual bakeries, the people, the places, and detectives. Home to Sherlock Holmes, of course. Now, there have been many different interpretations of the character, but today we are focusing on 2011's Sherlock. So, we first return to South Bank. So, with a quick walk down the side of the Hungerford Bridge, and to the South Bank Skate Park, which was featured in The Blind Banker, where a clue was located by one of Sherlock's contacts. Next, we head back to Trafalgar Square for the same episode, where Watson and Sherlock was locating said contact. Now, we head to Piccadilly Circus, a great area for shopping, meeting up, having fun, and drama, as that is where Moriarty holds his hostage in the Great Game. Now, Sherlock is a well-beloved and enjoyed TV show by many, so I decided to ask Tanisha on her thoughts, as she's a friend of mine who really likes Sherlock.
Well, I think, in my opinion, that is correct. Usually, a lot of people know what London is. Other tourists have they have this attraction. They know what landmarks are in London. For example, if they were to watch an Avengers film, and if it was based in London, they'll be like, oh, that's a London Night or something. They would automatically know that's London. So, like, for example, if I think it was in James Bond, I can't remember what movie, they also used London quite a bit. And obviously landmarks and museums give that sort of recognition. Oxford and Cambridge isn't really often used. I think that's the reason why a lot of people don't know Cambridge that well. Also, like, other places, like say for example, like Birmingham. Birmingham is sometimes used, but not all the time. I think in like Peaky Blinders it's used there, but you don't really see the setting in Birmingham. So yeah, that's the reason why, really. London is basically used most of the time. Well, usually they use a lot of museums in action movies, in a way to gain, like I said before, an audience, to gain some form of attraction towards tourists. Like, for example, in the Sherlock Museum, I think it's a blind banker, I think. Yeah, they used the museum, and I actually can't remember the name, but they used one museum, I think it was a British museum. They used that museum, and they used South Bank as well. And in a way, to me, when other countries, like in Korea, they have this big thing for Sherlock, so they usually, have this attraction to go to London, to that museum, to all those locations, just for Sherlock, basically.
So, after all of that, there is one more thing I want to do. I've been talking a lot about these locations and parts of London, and what's in them, but not anyone's opinion on them. So I decided to head to Highbury and talk to some friends about what they think and get some answers.
It's, in my opinion, it's used as a setting just because of how many recognizable landmarks it has. So, for example, in G.I. Joe, which had a scene set in London where they blew up a lot of central London, the impact was mainly because it was so recognizable that it was London.
To be honest, I feel like London is quite an iconic location, so there's a lot of stuff to be seen in London, a lot of stuff to actually be done. Plus the atmosphere is amazing. But other countries as well as the UK themselves do use the UK to, well, basically film either TV shows or movies. So again, I just genuinely think it's the atmosphere.
Frequent occurrence for using London for film bases and obviously set pieces. I mean, if you look around, you can see one part of London looks all built up, all industry size. You've got giant mass buildings all clumbered together, and then a little walk down the road and you may find it's all completely different. It all quickly changes from one thing to the next. You might find a really clean, upbeat area compared to, say, somewhere that's a little bit dirtier, a little bit more down to earth, a little bit more like at home. Because where would you want to be at home when it's just normally different?
So my favourite, I'd say my favourite movie that's set in London right now has got to be Skyfall, in the James Bond series. Mainly because, again, I'm a big lover of going around and seeing the sights, and also when you're going into the underground, it's possibly one of the best sequences I've seen in a James Bond film, because it shows not only the actual underground itself, but the old underground when the train crashes through and nearly kills them.
I think there are two main reasons for filming in London. First, there's the fact that the setting itself is gorgeous and you have lots of area to film. And second, I'm pretty sure there's been a lot of precedent already set for filming in London with movies like Harry Potter and 28 Days Later.
In London, I'd say Bill, Casualty. As for television shows, when it comes to actual films, I'd say obviously Sherlock Holmes, because again, it just takes that heart of London and puts it right bang in front of you and think, I've been there, I know exactly what it should look like, and you can think, it's not just a set, it's not something you build out of nowhere, it's there, you've lived it, and you're living it along with these people on the television screen as well, because you know what it's like there.
So, we've looked at wizards, spies, detectives, aliens, romantics and travellers, and many, many more. After looking at some of these locations, I've got a good idea of what makes London a popular place. Be it the landmarks, people or history, London is quite interesting.